So when Rees was about 9 years old, we decided to come as a family and join CrossFit and try to just get healthy. Really is how it started. We realized early on that Rees was a little different. He was a little faster, jumped a little farther.
Rees Cooksy, 9 years old.
From there, he entered his first online competition, was the Beast League competition. Out of about 80-something kids, he took first place. From there, we decided to try him out at weightlifting. Didn't really realize how strong he was until one night, Mark and I were messaging back and forth, and he's like, "Have you seen the state records? Rees has a chance to double the state records." So now we're pumped, right? And as a dad, you start thinking of like, you know, you're taking your home team state, you know what I mean, like you're going to the Super Bowl, you know, and so we just started dreaming about where he could go. We tried to push him a little harder, had a few setbacks, you know, he didn't want to be pushed. You know, he told me, "Dad, I don't have to do certain things because you did certain things, you know, in life." And so we had to learn how to balance, how to push, and how to let him take his own self there.
Rees Cooksy, 10 years old, 11 years old.
14 years old, Texas CrossFit Forney.
From there, we entered his first weightlifting competition, and you know, he took first place there. He doubled the state records at that point. Went on to nationals, entered more competitions. We realized that he was just better than the kids his age. Branched out to try to get into some adult competitions, you know, where he could have someone to push him. From there, he set his sights on the games, you know, and kind of here we are.
Come on. There you go.
The games was his goal early on. So being a kid, you know, when he achieves something, they're over it. You know what I mean? They want something different. And so it was a challenge for Mark and I both to give him a new challenge, you know, and a new milestone, a new goal to get to. It's almost like putting the carrot out in front of the horse, you know, to make him go further and faster. And so without him realizing what he was doing, that's what we were doing. One of the first challenges I gave him when he was about 10, I told him if he could get his first muscle up in 25 unbroken double unders, I'd buy him a tablet. Within, you know, a week or two, he had that achieved. That's what we did. We just gave him goals. The ultimate goal was to get to the games, and it changed his, I guess, the way that he approached every workout. You know what I mean? To push harder and to get better. You know, I mean, he's a kid, you know, he wants to go play in pool parties and swimming and friends and all that. So there's a balance to be a kid, but to be an athlete. We're afraid if we push too hard, you know, that it would burn him out and he would be over it. So we've just tried to create a balance for him. I told Mark, we were talking on the phone the other day, you know, Rees, if he gets some rest and trains like he's been training for the next 3 months, he has a real possibility to stand on a box. I told Mark if he stands on a box, we'll both be crying like babies.
Whenever I first came here, my first impressions of Rees were that he was a monster. He was really strong, he pushed really hard, and he had a motor like I couldn't believe. I didn't understand it was possible for someone that age to be as good as he was. Seeing someone with that drive has pushed me to be better myself. The thing that makes Rees different is his drive. He will push until his body gives out, and his mind just won't. He will go and go and go until his body cannot give him any more. Obviously, one thing I hope for him to get to is I want him to podium. That would be amazing. But I want him to finish and be proud of what he's done because it's amazing being top 20 in the world. It's an amazing feat.
My first impression of Rees, I was kind of scared of him because he was so much better at everything than everybody else. But once I got to know him, he was really nice. Working out with Rees, it was competition. So I would not be as strong as I am right now without Rees pushing me.
My first impression of Rees, I was just wondering who this scrawny kid was. I was in here just kind of doing whatever, on the pull-up bar, doing skipping pull-ups. doing handstand push-ups. Just wondering who this scrawny kid was. I was running around, kind of developing faster than most of the kids in Mark's CrossFit Kids class at the time. He's a kid way above the level of other kids that are his age. He can snatch 200 pounds, clean 260 pounds plus. When I was 14, I hadn't even touched a weight yet, you know? So that summer, maybe I squatted 135, and here's Rees squatting 335, 340 pounds, you know? So just to see him as he works out, as he lifts, he's very driven, he's very sure of himself and what he can hit, and when he doesn't hit, he's very emotional. He's supposed to hit 185 for a single, and he misses multiple times. I mean, he'll even cry sometimes. Me, if I miss a lift, all right, cool, let's go to the next one. But him, if he doesn't hit it, he's gonna keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. He's more motivated than most kids his age. He works hard when he wants it, he goes for it. He works well under pressure. He does everything Mark's asked of him more. He doesn't question what Mark has to tell him. He trusts in his coach, which a lot of kids don't do. If they tell him to do something, hey, I'll do it, maybe add this in. Rees does it to the T and executes every single time. Rees is just as driven as any kid I've ever seen. And he does what it takes to be the best, and now his trip to the games is showing for it. So just go in there, have fun, and when you come back, get refreshed and get back after it.
My first impressions of Rees were, that kid's an animal. He's just strong, he's fit, he's got everything it takes to be an athlete. Working out with Rees pushes me to become a better athlete. Just because he's made the games, it's inspired me to like do better. One thing I'd say to Rees going into the game is good luck. Hope he does good. Have fun.
Working out with kids my own age it's competitive. It kind of pushes my limits, and it's just having a good time trying to get better. Watching Rees improve is just incredible, because we used to be the same, like we used to work out the same, be the same, and then he's just blew up, and now he's like he's amazing. He's going to the games, and it's just really impressive. Watching Rees inspires me to push to my greatest abilities. Then I just wanna be like him. I just wanna do what he does. I wanna be as good as him. One thing I hope for Rees going to the games, I hope he exceeds. I just want him to do great.
What I noticed different about Rees was just his fire, his zeal to push more, to be better than pretty much everybody else. Even at the age that he was in, he was trying to roll with the adults in the class at that time, which was kind of cool. He has the engine like an adult. The only thing different is he may not be able to move the weight, but even now he can move the weight. So it pushes you more, because one, you know, he has that drive that he doesn't stop at all. He just keeps going, so it makes you want to keep going. And two, you don't want to lose by a little kid. So that is also a big effect of why you keep pushing. It makes you want to do more, just because I don't like to lose myself, and especially losing to a little kid is pretty tough. So you know, as he started to grow older, get a little bit bigger, you pack on some meat on him, the weight became easier for him. The WODs became easier, gymnastics became easier, cardio became easier for him. You know, it's a total change, especially after he started doing Olympic lifting. He started getting serious into that, and then I remember him telling, you know, me and Mark one day that he's like, I want to go to the games. I want to go to the games, and that was probably when he was 13, and he's just been at it ever since. I mean, I thought I was a gym rat, but he's in here more than me. He gets in here before me and he leaves after me. So I mean, he just has the drive just to keep going. He's one of those kids that if he puts his mind to something that he wants, he's going to achieve it. So the thing is, I don't even know what the future holds. This kid could be the next Fraser, the next Forney, the next superstar in CrossFit.
I started kids program because I enjoy coaching kids a lot. I like helping them do things that they never thought they were going to be able to do. You know, the first time Rees came in, he didn't last the class. He didn't even make it. He actually cried as soon as he walked in and ran out. And the whole crying thing is a theme with Rees, right? It was just something that he wasn't familiar with. The first thing that I really noticed was that he was a crier, for the simple fact that I learned later that he's a perfectionist. He's a perfectionist in the way that he will take it harder than anyone will if he cannot do something. And this was new, so he was scared of it. Everything that we taught him or showed him was all new. So if he didn't get it on the first try, he would cry. That's really hard to coach as a kid, but you also notice that that's probably what makes him different from all the other kids, is that everything has to be right, everything has to be perfect. It's still hard to coach, but at the same time, it's probably why he's as good as he is right now. I remember bringing in a balance board. No one had ever used a balance board. None of the kids did. It was the skill for the day was balance. And as soon as he got on it, it tipped over and he hit the ground, and it didn't take him 2 seconds. He ran outside and cried. I think that's honestly that's what drives him, is to be not just okay, but to be perfect at almost everything he does. And the kids, he's done so much. The first big thing on like a global level was a competition, an online competition when he was 10 years old, after he'd been here about a year, the Beast League. So I want to say 2,000 kids in the world did 5 weeks of workouts. It was like the open for the kids back then, where we had to video them, we had to send them in, someone online would judge them, and he won. There's a big trophy over there in the corner, and he's world champion on it. So he beat out however many kids he went against. It's so long ago I don't remember. So that was like the first big thing that he did on a global level. So we knew that right off the bat, they're like, okay, there's something special here. He's not just beating his kids, his scores are significantly higher. The next big thing was Garage Games he did, and he pretty much killed that. In the middle of that, we were already having him prepare to compete against the CrossFit teens. He was a year too young last year, but we had him do the workouts exactly the way those teams would have done, and he would have still finished 15th in the world, which still would have qualified him for the games, even though he was a year too young. Long story short, he's got 15 state records in Olympic weightlifting. He's pretty much the best Olympic weightlifter, or youth Olympic weightlifter that Texas has ever seen. And this year, of course, he qualified for the CrossFit Games. Stay composed.
Nice! What's your name?
Rees Cooksy.
How old are you?
10.
Awesome.